Hi honeys, welcome to Books and Hauls with Michelle. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about the pandemic and what I've gone through in the last year. The reason I'm talking about my journey in the last year is, well, I'm me, so I'm really in touch with what I've gone through, and it's a little bit harder to talk about what other people may have gone through. I do think, though, that at some point, if not through the whole video, you will be able to relate to something I'm saying. Like, I feel like we all went through this together in some ways. So you might feel the same way, or maybe you haven't, but I'm pretty sure that at some point you have. I wanted to film this in this little area here in front of my bookcase because for me, this is my cozy, comfortable, safe place. So it feels more like I'm more comfortable being vulnerable and just talking about how I feel about things sitting here. This is my favorite little spot to film. I do my Sunday book videos here and I just love it. So a year ago, we all know what happened. We all know what transpired. I have so many problems with anxiety. I think I started out in a really rough situation. um, I was having a lot of panic attacks and I was glued to the TV, watching the news constantly, watching all the craziness that was going on, especially as like May, June, and July happened, all the craziness going on in the cities around the country, the cities around the world. On Twitter, it was just really very toxic, and yet I kept going back for more. So I was really not treating myself the best. I wasn't taking good care of myself on a mental level, but I felt like I was addicted to the news. I was addicted to the numbers, to the fear that was being targeted. It was like so much of the media, they were really going after our fears, and I was feeding on it like crazy. And I got to a point, I want to say it was August, where I felt so depressed. I didn't care if I got out of bed in the morning. I didn't care about my future anymore. I don't even know if I cared about taking showers. I mean, I think the only reason I did on a regular basis was so I could film for you guys. But I was not in a good place. It took everything in me just to smile in videos. And I felt like it was like, it didn't feel like a real smile, it felt like a fake one. And I talked to my therapist and I talked to my doctor, and we all agreed that maybe it was the best thing that I could do is go on antidepressants. And so I did. Like I wasn't lonely. I mean, I'm here with Brad and everything, but I just felt so, aside from Brad, I felt so removed from the community, from the entire world. I felt like I wasn't a part of this anymore. Does that make sense? So I just felt so depressed and sad and isolated. So now you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, she was on antidepressants and she's admitting it. Yeah, I don't see the shame in that though. I think that anybody that feels like they need help should get the help they need. To me, antidepressants, when you're depressed, are no different than taking a ibuprofen when you have a headache, or it's no different than going to the doctor and saying, hey, my arm is broken, I need help, could you put a cast on it and maybe get an x-ray, see what's wrong and help me fix it? I don't see any difference with that. I think it's nothing to be embarrassed about. So if you are struggling with depression, or you know someone who is, I definitely urge you to get help. I don't think it's anything to be embarrassed about. And I'm not a therapist. I go to one regularly, but I am not one. And if you want to talk, if you need to get out how you've been feeling, you're welcome to email me. My email is down in the description box. I won't have a lot to say though. I might just respond, I heard what you said and I read it. And maybe that's all you need. Maybe you just need to vent. But because I'm not a therapist, I don't feel comfortable giving my thoughts on what people might say, if that makes sense. But I will put in the description box a few places that you can go if you or someone that you know needs help, because I think a lot of us are struggling with depression right now. I think literally everyone I have talked to, and I talk to a lot of people, are either depressed right now or they were. So it's definitely something to address if if you're having a hard time with it. For me, antidepressants were not what I expected. They were training wheels in a way to pull myself out of my depression. But they did not solve everything. I still had to put some work in, which is irritating, right? But I did. It's kind of like wanting to lose weight. Yeah, you can eat healthier, but you got to exercise too. You got to put some work into it. Same thing. I still had to put work into it. I still had to work on myself and every day think about where I was at and where I was trying to go and how I was doing. I had to really monitor myself. But it was not what I expected. I thought I was going to feel like Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music? I thought I was going to be spinning around and just happy and singing and just glorified to be on this medication that would make me so happy. And it didn't do that. I wasn't, I never had an experience where I looked like I could be in a Kotex commercial, running through a field of tall grass in a pretty dress and my hair flowing behind me. Like it was never like that for me. But it did help me get out of bed every day. It did help me take showers and not fight it so much. Like it helped me kind of come back into not feeling quite so down. It helped me level up a little bit. And then one day, let's see, about 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks, about a month ago, I got to a point where it hit me that I don't think this is working anymore. I don't think I need it anymore. And that's when it really hit me that I was feeling very robotic and numb. I realized I hadn't been laughing for months. I hadn't been crying. I hadn't cried in months. I hadn't felt passionate about anything in months. My artistic ability and like my creativeness, all gone. And that's when I decided that I felt like it was time to go off of the antidepressants. Now, I will tell you, if you're going to take them and then you decide to go off them, whether you're on them now or you decide to take them in the future when you go off them, talk to a doctor about it first. This is not something that you want to mess around with. You have to be very careful about how you go off of them. And I had to wean myself off of them, and I had no side effects at all. But wait, there's more. When I was completely off of them, then I started having side effects. I started having withdrawals. And I'm still struggling with that right now. I keep getting really dizzy and I keep feeling like this kind of twitchy brain feeling. And I get restless leg syndrome at night right now. And I've read that could happen up to 6 weeks. So, it's something to consider if you're thinking about going on antidepressants or if you are on them and you're thinking of going off. Be very careful because it's not for the not for the fair of heart. I guess you could. Is that how you say that? I think. So I feel like with this pandemic and being on antidepressants, which kind of felt like I was hibernating. It felt like ever since August, I've been in like a little cave, or it's like a tornado's going on outside, and I've been locked in a bunker. And now the tornado is over. I've heard on the radio it's safe to come out. And things are starting to open back up again. Slowly, but they are. It's like it's time to open that hatch up. I flipped it open and it's like, whoa, it's so bright outside. It's so bright outside, and it's hard to get used to being around people again, even in a safe way, even if I got a mask on and I'm 6 feet away. Going shopping right when the store opens and no one is in it is a different scenario, which is what I was doing, than actually being around people and having conversations. And this is weird to me. I feel like I'm having to learn all over again how to be social. But look, I feel like this last year has just been all about survival. It's been about getting by, doing what I had to do just to survive it. But now it's time to start planting some seeds. It's time to, okay, what did I learn and what are we going to do here? I've had time to reevaluate everything in my life, figure out what kind of life I want to have, and make it happen. It's time to have hope for the future again. Instead of just being in survival mode and living each day at a time, I can look into the future now. I can have goals. I can have hope. I can dream again. And it's hard being so numb and so robotic for so long. And you might have not even noticed I was feeling that way inside, but I was. Now it's like I feel like I'm being flooded with emotions. I've been crying a lot at really weird things. Somebody will just tell me something so minor that like they were sad about, and I'm like, really? It's like I just want to cry. My nephew, he's a baby, he's 4 months old. Sometimes I want to cry with him. I don't know why. He knows why. He's hungry or he needs a diaper change or he wants to go to sleep. I don't know why. I'm just crying with him because he's crying and I suddenly feel emotion again. But I feel it so strong. It's like emotion, but highlighted and underlined in bold font, you know? So I'm trying to kind of navigate now how to feel all these emotions that are suddenly flooding back into my brain and my body and my world. And there's a few things that are really helping me. I'm crocheting right now, which is very soothing. It's like rhythmic. It's really helping me. I'm working on a blanket right now. And Brad and I have been doing this great thing where we're sitting and he'll play his Xbox and I'll just sit next to him and crochet. And it feels great. It feels great to just kind of ease into my world again. I've been listening to music a lot, which it hit me. I haven't listened to music since June. When the pandemic first happened, I was listening to music constantly. I had all these playlists that I made and music nonstop. I was doing puzzles and had the windows open, and I was trying to kind of make it this beautiful esoteric thing, but somewhere along the line I got real dark, and so now I'm kind of trying to bring color back into my world. What's that called? What's that really? Technicolor? That's my world now. And so I'm meditating, I'm praying, I'm writing my thoughts down, I'm trying to reach out to my friends a little bit more and have discussions with people a little bit more because I got so isolated. There's so many people that haven't heard from me in a long time that did regularly before. But I've also realized that it's okay to be me. It's okay to feel the way I feel. And if there's anyone in my life who's not okay with who I am, they don't need to be in my life. And if I have any one-way relationships, they don't need to be in my life. And I'm telling you this as I'm saying I don't talk to people as much. I still try to reach out at least and text people and, hey, how are you doing? I was thinking about you, or that kind of thing. I'm not saying that makes up for it, but it's better than nothing, right? But I feel like it's not just me. In this last year, we've all reevaluated what we really want out of life, right? Who we want in our life, who we don't want in our life. And so it's time to go after what we want, I feel like. Now that things feel like they're starting to open up, we're starting to peek out, get out of the bunker a little bit. But there's been so much that's changed. It's like I've been wearing less makeup. It tells me that I care less about what other people think about me. Not saying I don't wear it at all. I mean, I've got some stuff on, but not to the... If I look at videos of myself before the pandemic, I don't wear anywhere near as much makeup as I did. And that tells me that maybe I don't care as much about what other people think. Or maybe I don't feel like I need to be fake. Maybe I don't feel like I need to wear a mask anymore, which is great. But I've also really upped in the last year my skincare game, which tells me that maybe I value my needs and self care and taking care of myself more, which is great. That's super healthy, right? And I feel like a lot of us have been doing that. A lot of us care about our skin and our skincare and our health and self care and just taking care of us again. Or maybe not again, maybe for the first time. I mean, I feel like before the pandemic, things were just moving so fast. It was like we were all gerbils in one of those things that spins around. We didn't have time to stop and think about what our needs or wants really were. We were just trying to do it all and have it all and be everything to everyone. And so, in some ways, maybe this whole thing has been a bit of a blessing. I know for me personally, it has been. And even though there's been a lot of bad things that have happened in the last year, there's been some really beautiful things that have happened too in my life and hopefully in yours too. I've been learning to love cooking again and to appreciate healthy food and to just appreciate all the beautiful things in life. I've got certain examples in my mind now that I think of, and I think things could be so much worse. When I start getting really like, well, I don't have this, I stop and I go, wait a minute. I have a roof over my head. I don't live in like the best neighborhood, but I'm not worried that somebody's going to break in and kill me in the middle of the night, so I'm safe. Not only do I have a roof over my head, I have walls that are sturdy. I have running water. I have food in the fridge. I have clothing. Got a lot of clothing. should that be two? No, I've got clothing. I've got a bunch of books to read. I mean, there's so much that I have. It could be so much worse. And through it all, as much of a struggle as this last year was, we made it through it. We're okay. We're okay. We're still here. We're okay. Right? We're okay. Me and you, we're both okay. All of us are fine. Another really good thing that came out of this year is the relationship that I have with so many of you. I've made a lot of friends on YouTube, not just other YouTubers, but some of you, and I know this sounds strange because I've never met you, but the talking back and forth that we do on here and everything, I feel like some of you are actually my friends. It's great because one thing that I've learned in the last year is to just go with the flow, to not really fear things so much because what I fear usually isn't what happens. I'm not saying bad things won't happen, but if they do, it's not going to be what I'm fearing. I can guarantee you that. If I'm worried about this happening, if I go here, something else bad might happen there, but it won't be that one thing I thought would happen. So why worry about it? And I know I can handle it. I got through this. And I think I've mentioned this before. It hit me a couple months ago, like 2 months ago, that as horrible as this year was, it still wasn't the worst year of my life. I've actually had more than 1 year in my life that were worse than this last year. So what's the big deal? I mean, I can definitely get through it. So I'm not going to worry so much about things anymore. If something bad happens, I will get through it. I guarantee it. Unless I die, I'll get through whatever is thrown my way. And I think that's an important lesson in all this is you think about any bad day you've had, anything that was just the absolute worst, you're still here. You made it through it. You can get through things. Might not be fun, but you can do it and so can I, right? I know I'm all over the place, but I've been reading a lot of books and it's funny. I've realized I've been reading books, like the books I read, and if I watch TV or movies, what I've been watching is different too. I love books that in some way have to do with survival. I love characters that go through a lot of crap and are seriously flawed. I don't want to read about you know, the perfect, beautiful girl with a beautiful body, and she was smart too, and she was oh so funny and delightful, and all the boys liked her. I don't want to read about that. No, I want to read about flawed human beings that struggle through life and have to claw their way to get where they're going, right? Um, and I feel like, I don't know if you guys feel like this, it feels like the last year, as I like to say, people have really been showing their ass. It's like people are showing who they are. And I've been realizing how many people are not nice people, how many people aren't good people. And I don't just mean people in my life, but just, people that I've ever met or that kind of, but just kind of sitting back and observing like I have so much in the last year. There's a lot of people that out there that just aren't that appealing to me anymore, that maybe I don't want in my life anymore. And so it's just really been interesting to realize who's important, who's not, and put time and energy into who is, and maybe not so much in the people that aren't. So I guess what I'm trying to say on this little oh so vulnerable deep dive about myself and really about all of us is you know this last year has been really rough, and I don't know what this next year holds. I don't know if it'll be rough. Maybe it'll be better than last year, maybe it'll be worse. I think it's important to accept that we really can't control how things around us are going. And that's all I got. If you have any questions, let me know. Also, let me know if there's other topics that you want me to do, kind of like a vulnerable deep dive like I did today about the pandemic. I think it's really important to sit down and have these discussions with you because we're not alone. And maybe if we're a little bit more vulnerable with each other and tell each other what we've gone through and how we feel, um, maybe we can all start having a sense of community again and start connecting with each other again. Um, it's just been a rough year, you know. We got through it, and we're going to get through whatever happens next. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked this. I hope I didn't sound too whatever, but I love you. Bye.